We have good news to talk about. Thank goodness. Texas has landed 2 portal commits so far today. What are the Longhorns getting with Relique Brown and Zion Williams? Let's talk about it on Locked On Longhorns. Intro.
You are Locked On Longhorns, your daily podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're locked on to the Texas Longhorns, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. I'm your host, BK, Brad Kellner, Texas grad, Austin local, and longtime sports radio host here in the Lone Star State. Thank you, everydayers, for making Locked On Longhorns a part of your day every single day. We are, of course, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, so please subscribe. And as always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving a comment. So thank y'all sincerely for that. Finding good portal news has been like trying to find a needle in a haystack for Texas fans. Fortunately, today we found 2, as the Longhorns have landed 2 transfer commits here on a Thursday. This morning, former Arizona State running back Relique Brown pledged to Texas, and then a few hours later, former LSU defensive lineman Zion Williams announced his commitment. What are the Longhorns getting with their 2 newest players? Well, 2 very different things. We will start with Relique Brown. Brown was first team All Big 12 in 2025, rushing for more than 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns at Arizona State. He also added 239 receiving yards and a couple of receiving scores as well. Relique Brown is a day 1 starter at Texas, and he's also a one-and-done player at Texas because he only has 1 year of college eligibility remaining. He's already played 4 years of college football. He only has a 5th because he used a medical red shirt after only playing 2 games in 2024. Relique Brown was the top-ranked running back remaining in the portal. He was receiving interest from a number of teams who expect to be in the college football playoff mix in 2026, and the Longhorns were able to get his commitment. This is a huge get at a major position of need. We've talked about his game a lot, and there's a lot to talk about. He's fast, he's dynamic, he's explosive, he has great foot speed and agility. He is a threat to make something out of nothing every time he touches the football. Think of a more complete Jaden Blue with less fumbling issues. That's Relique Brown. Relique Brown listed at 5'9", 195 at Arizona State this past year. Jaden Blue at the NFL Combine in April, 5'9", 196. Basically the exact same size. Both guys are home run threats. Both guys can run away from defenders. Both guys were really good pass catchers. I'd probably give Jaden Blue a slight nod there, if we're being honest. But as good as Jaden Blue was, he never rushed for 1,100 yards in a season. He was never first team all conference. I'm not trying to dunk on Jaden Blue at all. One of my favorite Longhorns in recent years. I'm just trying to paint a picture of what Texas is getting with its new tailback. And heck, to give Jaden Blue a compliment, the offense really missed him this year. There was zero explosiveness in the Longhorn running back room in 2025. Trey Wisner, a very good player, did a lot of things incredibly well, but he didn't have that home run ability that Jaden Blue had, and he wasn't the pass catcher that Jaden Blue was. I wish Jaden Blue stuck around for this past season. He didn't. That's a conversation for another day. But a guy with difference-making speed at running back is never a bad thing, and that's what the Longhorns are getting with Relique Brown. I'm curious if Texas will try to sign 1 more back from the portal. Texas lost 4 to the portal. So far, they've lost 4. And to this point, they've added 3 with Brown and then the 2 high school signees, Derek Cooper and Jet Walker. Maybe Texas wants 1 more guy with a little more experience back there. I wouldn't hate it, especially considering the biggest knock on Relique Brown is that he's dealt with some injury issues during his college career, only played a total of 4 games in 2023 and 2024 because of injury problems. So having an insurance plan, never a bad thing. We all have insurance policies on the most important things in our life. Getting the Texas run game turned around in 2026, that's the most important thing for Steve Sarkisian's professional life. So having some insurance there wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, I do think a room with Relique Brown, Christian Clark, Derek Cooper, James Simon, and Jet Walker is more than capable. But remember 2024? and I'll knock on wood when I say this so it doesn't happen again, but that was the year where C.J. Baxter and Christian Clark both suffered season-ending injuries in fall camp. I don't want to be in that situation again. And I know you've got Michael Terry III. I know you've got Ryan Niblett, but neither of those guys natural running backs. I'm not sure I trust them to have significant roles in the Texas backfield in 2026. Maybe the coaching staff disagrees with me there. We will see, but I'm curious to see if the Longhorns want one more tailback. But to wrap things up on the Relique Brown conversation before moving on to Zion Williams, he is an upgrade over anything Texas had at that position in 2025. He's not Jaden Ball. I won't sit here and tell you who he is. I'm not going to lie to y'all, but he is a really good running back with loads of experience that gives the Texas offense something that it did not have this past season. And I'm excited to see him next to Arch Manning in the Texas backfield. It's going to be fun. So that's Brown. He's the win now guy. I mentioned the two commits are kind of borderline polar opposite. I wasn't kidding, because Zion Williams, the new defensive lineman who committed from LSU, he's more of a developmental guy. Williams just wrapped up his first year of college football at LSU. He played 0 snaps on defense. Raleek Brown, first team all conference. Zion Williams, 0 snaps on defense. He only played 21 snaps all season. All of those came on special teams. You probably don't need me to say this, but Williams kept his red shirt, meaning he has 4 years of eligibility remaining. That's good. 6'4", 360 pounds. His job in 2026 will be to provide some depth on the Texas defensive line. You already brought in Ian Jaffrard, who plays a similar position, the Arkansas transfer, who's a plug-and-play starter on the Texas D-line. You've got Myron Charles and Josiah Sharma going into year 2. Alex January, Murad Watson, those guys back at defensive tackle. So Kenny Baker won't be relying on Zion Williamson to – I knew I would do it. I knew I would do it once. Zion Williams, not Zion Williamson. Zion Williams, we're not going to be relying on him to be much of a factor. Well, Zion Williamson looks like he's pushing 360 these days, though, if we're being honest, but that's not who we are meaning to talk about here. Some of y'all might not be super excited about this get, but with all of the depth that the Longhorns have lost in the portal this week, getting somebody like this to come in is a very good thing. You might ask why Texas was so interested in Zion Williams, considering he played 0 snaps this year. They loved him out of high school. They recruited him hard, as did a number of other big-time programs around the country. Williams ultimately chose to sign with the Tigers, but Texas really liked his game, and clearly they still did. And also, Texas had 2 defensive linemen flip away right before National Signing Day, which opened up a couple of spots for these project-style defensive linemen. Zion Williams is basically taking the spot that was thought to be reserved for Corey Wells or Vodney Cleveland. My guess is Texas is paying Williams less than what they would have had to pay those other 2 guys too. So similar player, similar position, a year older, same amount of eligibility at a lower price. Feels like a win-win-win-win right there for Texas. While so much of our chatter has been about 2026, Texas is going to reap the benefits of a guy like this more so in 2027 and 2028. And hey, I'd like to be good in those years too. I know 2026 is supposed to be an all-in year, but I want the Longhorns to be major factors beyond just next fall. So I will take this pickup. So there you go. I know today's news hasn't been all good. The Longhorns have already had 2 players choose to leave. The way things are going, there might be another 1 or 2 who decide to throw their name in the portal before the clock strikes midnight tonight. But considering how bad the week has been to this point, a day with 2 solid imports feels like a monumental win. And hopefully this momentum can carry over into the weekend. And no, Bevo has not entered the transfer portal, at least not yet. Nothing feels off the table at this point. All right, that'll do it. We'd love to get y'all's thoughts. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment below. Relique Brown, Zion Williams, your takes on the 2 new takes for Texas football, and what would you like to see the Longhorns do next? Offensive line and linebacker continue to be the biggest need for the Horns. Definitely going to talk about the offensive line in tomorrow morning's episode, so make sure you're subscribed and you've got those notifications turned on so you always know when we drop new content. If you made it this far in this episode, number one, God bless you. Number two, please remember to like, subscribe, share, rate 5 stars, and leave that comment. Can't thank you all enough for your continued support of Locked On Longhorns. But that'll do it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, horns up, mic's off. We'll see y'all soon. This is Locked On Longhorns.